Dr. Nagalata,
Yes.
it's up to you.
Warm greeting and good day to all. This is Dr. A.S. Naglata, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Sri Kanika Parameshwari Arts and Science College for Women, Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India, and proud to be an alumni of University of Madras. I welcome you all who are logged in and taking part in this international virtual conference. Thinking out of box and create a learning experience where the learner can interact with the content and brain. To witness this, we are connected to this platform of sharing knowledge on international conference on research outlook, innovation, and research trend 2020. The conference incepted by collaboration of 18 international and national university institutes and departments such as Giuseppe D. Vittorio Foundation Research Unit, Regional Economic Roman Italy, University Kebangsaan, Malaysia, JSPM, Bivarabai Sawat Institute of Technology and Research Department of Electrical Engineering, Pune, Association of Chemistry Teachers, Kaviyatri Bahina Bhai Chaudhary, North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon, India, Aravind Gawali College of Engineering, Satara, India, Livy Polytechnic National University Institute of Economics and Management, Department of Management and International Business, Livy, Ukraine, Tashkent State University of Economics, Uzbekistan, Financial and Economical College, Russian Federation, Department of Commerce, University of Madras, Chennai, India, Vesil Gold West University of Arid, Romania, CT Institute of Management and Information Technology, Jalandhar, India, Sumi National Agrarian University, Sumi, Ukraine, SVKM Sri Bahubai Mafatlal Polytechnic, Mumbai, India, Southern Isabel College of Arts and Trade, Colagan, San Diego City, Philippines, Academic of Public Administration under the President of Republic of Uzbekistan, School of Social Science and Humanities, B.S. Abdur Rahman, Crescent Institute of Science and Technology, Chennai, India, College of Teachers, College of Social Science and Humanity, College of Teacher Education, Negros, Oriental State University, Dumanguete City, Philippines, International Journal of Advanced Study and Research Work, Mumbai, India. The intention of the conference to facilitate the exposure of learning on various research theory and application. It also encourages the innovation concept through research from multidiscipline by building worldwide strong network. Before the start, I would like to give a small introduction about each of our eminent personality. We pleased to have our chairperson, Professor M. Nazim, who is the Vice Chancellor of Southeastern University of Sri Lanka. He has extensively engaged in curriculum, formation, and development of various universities in Sri Lanka. Under the Ministry of Education, he served as a General Secretary of Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science. He served as a chairperson of the Young Scientist Forum. Sir is a consultant to many national and international projects. He is a life member of many professional associations such as Institute of Biology, Association of Fisheries and Aquatic Resource, and so on. He has published many research papers and short science communications and 3 books on its credit. Thank you, sir, for joining with us in spite of your busy schedule. I would like to give a brief introduction about our chief guest, Professor Dr. P.P. Maulekar, Pro Vice Chancellor, KBC, North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon, Maharashtra, India. Sir started his career in 1994 as an academician. His passion towards the science made him serve vital role in many science-based domains. He headed Department of Pesticides and Agrochemicals, Department of Industrial Chemistry, Director of School and Chemical Science, Director, Board of College and University Development, and so on. He has enormous experience of 27 years and he has produced 24 PhDs on his credit and published many articles in international and national conferences with impact factor. He is the recipient of many awards like Research Award for a Fun and One-Time Grand Award, Best Teacher Award, and so on. As a person of with highly caliber, thank you, sir, for sharing your precious time with us. I would like to give a quick intro of our chief guest. He is Professor B.G. Bhandarkar, ex Director Corporate Relations, DYPKC Pune, India. Sir hold 58 years of teaching experience. He started his caliber as a Director Corporate Relations and Dr. D.R. Patel Group in 1983. He established polytechnics, engineering, medical, dental, Ayurveda, management, colleges, schools, and university. With his expertise teaching knowledge, he have leaded many roles as head of the department, registrar, and director at D.Y. Patel and K.K. Wong Group. He served as a secretary in Association of non-technical teachers. He also served as a member of Managing Committee, Vice President of Maharashtra Engineering Teachers Association. He published many books in physics, mathematics, and applied machines. Thank you, sir, for being with us and sharing your wisdom of thoughts. With this note, I invite our chief guest, B.G. Bhandarkar, sir, to take up the session to give an inaugural note. Sir, over
Okay.
to you.
Okay. Namaste, everybody. Respected Dr. M.M. Nazim, Vice Chancellor, Southeastern University, Sri Lanka. Dr. P.P. Mahulikar, Pro Vice Chancellor, Kavitri Bahinabai Chaudhary, North Maharashtra University. Dr. Jhelia Seramogo and all rishis associated with the international conference. I consider myself fortunate enough to get an opportunity to express some of my views before all of you. I referred all those who are attending this conference, which also includes the renowned academicians whom I mentioned by name in the earlier stage as rishis. As in India, traditionally the ashrams of rishis were abodes of education which used to encompass all aspects of human life, adopting holistic approach. And all participants in this conference come from various disciplines of education, covering all aspects of education which enriches human life. I consider each of them as rishi, and accordingly I address them. We all belong to the field of education. Education is fundamental for achieving full human potential. It is expected to be inclusive, providing lifelong learning experiences and opportunities. Rapid changes are taking place in the knowledge landscape, and we continuously hear and harp on innovative attitude and methodology. During the last 5 to 6 years, India is witnessing establishment of number of self-financed private universities, and each of them professes about innovative approach in its methodology, which is no doubt a welcome sign. However, very few of them really know what is innovative methodology and exhibit it in their curriculum also in the mindset of their faculty. If one has to be innovative in real sense, one must have, if not, then one must develop research attitude in all his undertakings. This is possible only if education system of all education institutions, not only of the university level, but at the primary level of education is inquiry driven, discovery oriented, and learner centered. We observed that the word research has some stigma, and many feel that it is the domain of higher level of postgraduate level studies, which must be redefined in the present context of rapidly changing technology oriented knowledge and scenario. The changes in paradigm and challenges in the social sciences assume greater importance. As such, I consider this international conference on the research outlook, innovative and research trends a timely organized one. One of the topics in tomorrow's session, worldwide impact of COVID-19 on research, is indicative of thinking of the organizations of the conference. I consider this more important as even as on this day the general public is of the view that the research is being carried out in the universities or do not have impact on our life and are merely of academic importance. The inclusion of this topic indicates that these days the researchers do not stay in ivory towers of only the academic significance but are concerned about impact of their research on the activities of social life. I feel this conference will pave a way for exchange and share of experience of renowned academicians and all aspects of which are bound to enhance the skill sets of the research ethics, improvement in the quality of research papers, understanding of the word innovation, and benefit each one of us who is primarily associated with the education system, not only in India but across the developing countries. With all these remarks, I would like to conclude myself and request the chairperson of the conference, to start the proceedings of the conference. Thank you very much.
Session. I request Maulekar sir to give a inaugural note. Okay. Sir.
Maulika sir.
Okay. Namaskar. Very good morning to all of you, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, I am very happy to be here, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you all on the opening ceremony of this virtually international conference on research outlook, innovation, and research trends, which has been jointly organized by International Journal of Advanced Study on Research Work in collaboration with Association of Chemistry Teachers of Kavitri Bhainabai Chaudhary, North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon, India, and a cluster of other 7 well-reputed national and international institutions worldwide. Dear friends, on behalf of our university, Kavitri Bhainabai Chaudhary, North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon, at the outset, I welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor P.P. Patil sir, Professor M.M. Nazim, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Southeastern University of Sri Lanka, Professor P.G. Bhandarkar, Ex-Director, Corporate Relations, D.Y. Patil, Knowledge City, Pune, India, Professor Zelia Solomoglu, Nero-Roman Hristiyan University, Turkey, and who is the editor-in-chief of this journal, International Journal of Advanced Study on Research Work, Dr. A.S. Nagarata from Chennai, all participants from India and all other countries. Dear friends, Now we are experiencing one new problem since last 6-7 months worldwide, that is COVID-19. And because of COVID-19, our regular learning teaching process has been totally stopped because of lockdown situations. And in such situations, we have continued our regular teaching learning process online through various modes by using various ICT tools. And today we are gathered online here for this virtual international conference because of lockdown. And on one side we are facing lot of problem because of this COVID-19 crisis and lockdown situations. However, on other side we have grabbed an opportunity to come together online virtually for this international conference. And as I said, it is high time such that event is taking place in a pandemic situation of COVID-19 to highlight the remarkable contribution of research outlook, innovation and research trends in many areas of our lives. Very happy to declare that this conference has been inaugurated now. Dear friends, to commensurate with the global scientific technology advancements, academia, business, being the frontiers of education from knowledge-based society to that innovation and advanced research with a focus on interdisciplinary research as there more focus on multidisciplinary research. Today, world has become a knowledge-driven and is expertise-based. Efforts are on to make life of man smooth, running and comfortable consequently. It is endeavored to touch each and every aspect of human life now. The nature of problem has been multidimensional and multi-pronged, evolving, involving knowledge of numerous disciplines and subjects. Their specialties and peculiarities have added to the significance of multidisciplinary research. Ladies and gentlemen, conference, as we are here for this international conference, such as this provide a valuable opportunity for scientists, researchers, scientists, industry specialists, experts, and decision makers to share their valuable knowledge and experiences. I am grateful to many experts who have been accepted our invitation and joined today's this 2 days virtual international conference to share their knowledge. I also welcome the representatives of academic institutions, those of you have joined from abroad also, industry, associations, NGOs also have been joined today's conference. I am sure you will have fruitful and rewarding exchanges in these 2 days, today and tomorrow. If we if you take a look at conference program, you will definitely agree that it is going to be very busy as well as productive with constructive outcome. There is a lot to offer for this 2 days event today and tomorrow. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the conference organizing committee for their diligent work. It is essential to bring together experts in all fields so that we can realize together the potential of technology for scientific community from interdisciplinary research as well as multidisciplinary research. I would like to conclude my speech by encouraging the delegates to participate with an increasing number in all activities and discussions, deliberations through the digital platform for today and tomorrow. I wish everyone a successful, safe, and fruitful conference by looking forward to learning about the constructive outcome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your motivation and inspiring inaugural note. With this, now I am glad to invite Professor Dr. Zila Simoglu, Nikde Omer, Elizabeth University, Turkey, and she is an editor in charge, International Journal of Advanced Study and Research Work, to give away the welcome note of this conference. Madam, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Greetings from Turkey. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this great event and this session. Firstly, I would like to introduce about myself to you. I am Dr. Zeynep Selamoğlu from Turkey. I am a full professor in the medicine faculty in the medical biology department, and also I am a chief editor in the International Journal of Advanced Study and Research Work, and also I am a chief editor in this conference, international conference. I am about this issue. I am so happy to be here with you anyway. So especially these days, whole world has very hard times about this pandemic. So in this time, to organize like this event really very, very important and precious for us. So firstly, I would like to many special thanks to Dr. Priyanka Gupta and Dr. Present and all organizing committee members and professors about for their all polite efforts on this conference organizing. And also many thanks for all participants to this international conference. As you know, there are many participants from many different countries. For all organizing committee members and all participants in this conference. So finally, I would like to many thanks for all participants and welcome to International Conference on Research Outlook, Innovations and Research Trends 2020. Have a nice conference and have a nice day. Thank you so much.
Note, and thank you for joining with us for the in busy schedule. Our renowned speakers are ready on sideline. Without further delay, I would like to give a brief introduction of our eminent speaker. Before we begin, she is Dr. Elena Battagni, Senior Scientist, Head of Unit, Urban and Regional Economic, Di Vittorio Foundation, Italy. She is a teaching member of PhD program on landscape of contemporary city, policies, techniques and visual study in University of Rome and render many lectures in 15 other Italian countries and international universities. She is an active learner and proactive in nature. She published more than 50 articles, essays, and volumes on innovation, development, and territorial sustainability, both in Italy and abroad. She is active editorial board member of IJA SRW from 2019. Here, with this small note, she is going to throw a light on the change paradigm and its challenges in social science. Welcome you, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for having inviting us and for giving us the possibility as the Di Vittorio Foundation to be among the organizer of this amazing international conference. Let me share my screen. Before addressing to you the title and the main issues, main topics of my lecture today, allow me to send my greetings and my warm regards from my country and the place I'm living now before going back to Rome to work. I'm where I am now, speaking to you, many countries, many scholars all together gathered by this international conference. I'm speaking to you, I'm addressing my lecture from a little place in the north part of my region, where very close to Rome. And from here, I would like to address to you especially one main point. COVID, this pandemic, brought to the fore the rise of new paradigms. In my lecture, I will define what a paradigm is and how it is challenging. The new paradigms are challenging our position, our disciplines, our science, and especially our critical thinking and awareness as scholars and practitioners as we are. So let's have a look to have a little overview on the main issues I'm addressing to you today. I will define the paradigms, how I'm defining a paradigm, and what are the main challenges for social sciences. In order to address and pinpoint to you these challenges, I have selected a study case. I will address to you how quality of life as a concept has been challenged as a concept by these new paradigms. I will give you some examples of international quality of life related analysis, and at the end, with some I will conclude my presentation with some lessons to take away. So I will tackle the theme of quality of life as a case study in order to address to you how social sciences, how the theories and concepts of social sciences are challenged by the new paradigm that COVID and this pandemic brought to the fore. Let's start on to defining what is a paradigm, and therefore a paradigm shift that we are living. I will define paradigm in the sense, in the definition that a great philosopher of the science, Thomas Kuhn, addressed to us in a wonderful volume, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions, in 1962. What is a paradigm related? It is related to the wide constellation of beliefs, values, and techniques shared by members of a scientific community, as we are now here gathered, joined by this interdisciplinary conference. For example, the Newtonian physics has been challenged and influenced and biased by the paradigm that brought to the fore after the Newtonian discoverings. So in this sense, in this perspective, with this definition of a paradigm, what is a paradigm shift? The paradigm shift occurs when old paradigm shown inadequate. What does this mean? Is that when a paradigm a new paradigm overcome an old one, all the research and theories are reevaluated. Concepts turn upside down, and earlier research is reinterpreted. Thomas Kuhn, not all the scholars and the authors addressing their studies on paradigms and on science and theories agree with what Thomas Kuhn stated. For example, Karl Popper, in his seminal work, stated that each scientific theory builds progressively on the theories proceeding by the falsification principle. For Thomas Kuhn, instead, the author I'm referring to define the term paradigm and of course, paradigm shift. Theories are representational spaces in which we model the world. So revolutions, the shifts, paradigm shifts occur through the representational space with another. Science undergoes periodic paradigm shifts instead of progressing in a linear and continuous way. Therefore, scientists can never divorce their subjective perspective from their work. Thus, our understanding of science can never rely on full objectivity. We must account on subjective perspective as well. Therefore, if we agree with the statement, the definition of paradigm that I have been addressing to you today, this firstly means that in turbulent times with paradigm shifts, us as scholars, and first of all as individuals, citizens, we are all challenged in our critical thinking, in our critical awareness. Allow me to start quoting a Latin Stoic philosopher. He stated that is, I think, very close to the main point I would like to raise here today. The quote is from Seneca, is from his letters to Lucilius. Let's hear what Seneca says. There is no reason why you should marvel that each man can collect from the same source suitable matter for his own studies. For in the same meadow the cow grazes, the dog hunts the hare, and the stork the lizards. In a multidisciplinary conference that we are now joining today, in order to show you, all of you, how a paradigm may affect, for example, the concept of quality of life, the concept I have selected as a case study to support my argument today. We will deal with the statement of Seneca in two different perspectives. Today, I will deal on how the cow, the dog, and the stork frame the same source, which is the meadow, and how this frame, the meadow, could have an impact on their observation. That means discussing the way, in our case, the way the concept of quality of life could be perceived, described, or interpreted and managed in social research application. We are relating. Therefore, what is my main learning focus here? In order to raise our critical awareness, not only as researchers, but as citizens too, as I said before. Basically, we will deal with how values and interests can influence the social facts and dynamics of observations. Therefore, let's stick to the main core of my presentation, quality of life as a concept, as a case study, in order to raise the research issues and related problems in relation with the authorization and the research and reports and the rankings surrounding that are using this concept. Let's agree. Let's share what is how quality of life is defined in the literature. And let's start with the difference between a concept like standard of living with the quality of life. Standard of living compared to quality of life regards the so-called material needs in terms of earth, food, employment, income, and so on. Instead, quality of life regards the non-material life conditions, primarily in terms of quality of human relations, social and cultural integration, environment quality. Standard of living regards satisfaction that concern the subjective perception of the level of life conditions. Instead, quality of life regards happiness that concerns the subjective perception of quality of life. I'm sure that you have heard in my definition of quality of life in comparison with the concept of standard of living, some echoes of the capability approach stated in their seminal works by Martha Nussbaum and the Indian Nobel Prize Amartya Sen. And they related on adaptation, criticizing the utilitarian approach of Bentham. They related to what is a high satisfaction mean in relation with quality of life. And they also related to dissonance. And this, they criticized the neo-contractualism approach related to roles, and therefore the objective conditions that are not enough for a good quality of life, because it relates with the different needs, the different way people perceive quality of life and their needs in a specific spatial and temporal and time context. Therefore, drawing on this definition, quality of life as a concept relates on objective conditions and subjective perception, well-being, dissonance, adaptation, and deprivation. So let's locate this concept of quality of life in a standard research design of a standard research. I hope that we all share that research in the way as scholars and practitioners design it, construct it, is a cycle. From a social concern, from a problem, we start from a problem, and then by the way we operativize our theories, our concept and hypotheses, we go to, construct some data, some results that build new concerns. What I would like to address to you today is how quality of life as a concept might be in the way it is constructed may affect, may bias our way of construct our datas. Let's stick to what I call the definition of a driving concept, and in order to know how the concept of quality of life it is important. It is important how we define quality of life, because from the definition, from the correct definition of this concept, depends the way we construct the techniques, consistent and robust techniques of our research. What is an imagery? A great methodologist, a sociologist like Lazarsfeld, in his seminal books, defined the importance of a driving concept, an imagery. What is an imagery? Allow me to use this image that refers to the ideal city of the Renaissance in Italy. You know that during Renaissance in the 15th century in Florence, wonderful architects brought to the fore a new line of thinking, a new line of thought that gave imagine to wonderful architecture like the church of Santa Maria del Fiore in Firenze, and of course was used in the Renaissance perspective. These new thoughts was the linear Renaissance perspective. So let's use this image to image that a driving concept may act in our research analysis, in the way we are constructing and designing our research, give the direction to our research. Therefore, it is important, in order to construct robust and consistent research, we have to be very aware on the way we define our imagery, our driving concepts, and therefore our main hypothesis. Leaving the beauty of the image of the Italian Renaissance, a linear perspective, we might use a theory, the theory of frames of Goffman in 1974, that of course give more information in relation of how we are constructing our research analysis and how images, hypotheses are framed in our research cycles. The theory of frames by Goffman, resulting from the concept of symbolic interactionism, interprets the way in which social actors, like we as scholars in constructing our research, relate to their attitude, to their norms, to their values, and of course, shared paradigms according to the definition of Thomas Kuhn. And they are framing by these attitudes, norms and values and paradigms what they call reality. Therefore, the concept of imagery, the driving concept of quality of life that I have selected to support my arguments is a way to frame the steps that scholars need to do in the cycle of research I have showed you, pinpointed to you in the slide before. Why operationalizing the act of defining a concept is important? Let's stick to, let's quote again Paul Lazarsfeld. He stated, there is no outside criterion by which an operationalization of a concept could be validated. No single one of the eligible indicators in which we frame data is an a priori more relevant of any of the others. The same idea would have to be accepted for the measurement of criminal tendencies, the topic in which she was in charge during his researches. Therefore, what is an operational? What does operationalize quality of life, the concept of quality of life means? And how this matters to my main argument. The operationalization, the way we define in basis of values, interests, theories, state of the art of the literature and research hypotheses, in the way we define the quality of life, we have to construct two different steps. One, is related to the link that us as observer, us as research establish between his concept of the property A, his concept, and the property B, which means that is this typolative nature of the operationalization process, in a few words, means that we have to define the main concepts of the concept we are operationalizing. Therefore, what is an operational definition and why it is matter to us? The properties of the concept of quality of life are too general to be empirically observed, and they should be then subjected to a process that transforms them into indicators and variables. This transformation, it's like a translation, and it is called operationalization definition. In other words, why operationalization of the concept of quality of life matter to us? Operativizing this concept means that a set of rules and convention are guiding our survey and their transformation for the next insertion to a data matrix. So therefore, a researcher, we are, as researchers, as scholars, are not evaluated and judged by the scientific community on our data, on our results, but on the way we are constructing a scientific cycle of research, which means in the way we are operationalizing our concepts. Let's stick to some practical examples of what I'm saying to you. Let's think about a report that is every year, starting from more than I think 15 years, is relating to quality of life within the report on they call an index of economic freedom. What is this index and how it is made up of. This is an index published by Heritage Foundation and Wall Street Journal. It covers 10 freedoms components domains and is aimed at analyzing 185 countries' performance in order to promote, how do they frame it, economic opportunity and prosperity. They are defining economic freedom as the fundamental right of every human to control his or her own labor and prosperity. And they construct a methodology that that relate to this definition. In order to construct this index, they are using different dimensions of the concept of economic freedom that it is so closely linked to the concept that we are using, quality of life. They define 10 specific components. They call it pillars of economic freedoms, that is related to the rule of law, to the limited government, to the regulatory efficiency, to the open market, trade freedom, investment freedom, financial freedom. Let's stick to business freedom as an example. The way they have operationalized the concept of quality of life within the concept of economic freedom relies on the following variables: procedures, durations, costs, percentage of income per capita, the minimum capital, and other variables. Each variable is converted into an 0 up to 100 scale. In this way, 50, the number 50, is equivalent to an average of this indicator, an average, while the maximum score that can get a country is equal to 100. If it has a higher score, is reduced to 100. Therefore, the dimension value of this indicator, of this dimension of the index economic freedom, is calculated as the unweighted average of the 10 variables that we have seen are composing this index related to business freedom. Therefore, what are the main critiques to the way the researchers of this report has defined economic freedom, in this case, business freedom? The attribution of the same weight to the 10 dimensions that we have seen are related to the concept of economic freedom is a choice that depends on the subjectivity of the researcher, therefore is an arbitrary choice to assign different weights. The arguments advanced by the author are weak and without any methodology consistency. Achieve the final score of the countries. All the countries are classified into 5 categories. Countries repressed from 0 up to 49.9. And from 50 score up, mostly unfree countries, countries moderately free, countries mainly free, and free countries. What is the main critics to the way they have constructed their report and this rank? The report does not specify the criteria how these thresholds have been chosen. Let's stick to another example of bad practice of data elaboration. In this case, we are using the Index of Quality of Life in Italy in a report that a very famous, very important economic journal like 24-hour Sole 24 Ore is doing every year in relation to this score, this ranking on quality of life in Italy. This index covers 6 quality of life dimension components, and it is aimed, of course, at analyzing 170 Italian districts, province level of quality of life performance. Which are the dimensions of the quality of life related to this index? Standard of living, businesses, work, services, environment and health, public order, population, leisure. And this is the methodology compared to the previous report. The report, the ranking relate to the standardization, aggregation, and ranking of this measurement. Let's stick to the standardization. They are constructing an homogeneous direction of the indicators, ordering positive values as ascending and negative values as descending. Each indicator is then cleansed by the unit of measurement by assigning to each territory of a proportional score to the highest value and to the lowest of the distribution. Therefore, the method of ranking is constructed either on each component of the dimension of the concept quality of life, or on the final index that is resulting from the unweighted average of the indicators. Therefore, as you can see, a methodology which is completely different from the case of the economic freedom index that we have dived into before. But despite the fact that the quality of life index of our Sole 24 Ore is using a methodology which is completely different, there are still critics on the way they have constructed their methodology and the ranking. The main critics are related to the method of standardization, the way they have standardized their data, and aggregation. What does standardization mean? The fact that the province is scored better than all the others in a given context does not imply necessarily that it is well performing in absolute terms. The second critiques relate to the aggregation. Considering the distribution extreme values of the index, this distribution can lead to distortions of reality because of the possible presence of outliers very distant from other value that can be interpreted. Therefore, the main aim of the survey is not to measure quality of life in the sense that we have defined. Do you remember? In the sense relating to the capability approach of Nussbaum and Amartya Sen, how can we measure quantitatively what is perceived by a social actor? Therefore, the ranking is not a way to measure the level of quality of life in this case, but rather to rank in the way that we have seen with the methodology that they have used to rank the 107 Italian provinces. Let's stick to my concluding remark. Resuming the Seneca, the philosopher Seneca statement I addressed to you before, with the study case on the concept of quality of life, in the way it is operativized, in the way it is used in some cases of ranking and reports as I have addressed to you, we have attempted to show that despite cows, dogs, storks have different values and different interests in framing reality, sometimes an index mirrors the same needle, that of neoliberal economy model, now challenged by the new paradigms that COVID, this pandemic, is bringing to the fore. Second, numbers, data, might crush a concept and therefore mask or even hide, manipulate paradigms, ideologies, and assumptions. The paradigm shifts we are facing is challenging all of us, both as scholars and citizens, in our critical thinking, in our awareness of how a concept should be operationalized, could be a driving image, an imagery that could drive robust and consistent research. Therefore, we must be aware of how a study is constructed and of how a concept is framed and operationalized in order to achieve, allow me to say, a better quality of life as scholars and practitioners and researchers, and even as citizens. Thank you for your comments.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Alina, for this wonderful session. Over to you, Dr. Nagalata.
Yeah, really, ma'am. Thank you, madam, giving the insight perspective of quality of life and research aspects. We are really honored with your humble words.
Dr.
With that,
Nagalata.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Priya, ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, Dr. Nagalata.
Yes, ma'am. Shall I proceed?
Yes.
Yeah. With that, our next speaker is ready to give us the take. I would like to call upon and introduce Dr. Vikas Vital Gite, KBC North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon, Maharashtra, India. Welcome, sir. With a brief introduction, I would like to bring it to your participants to your notice, sir. So, Dr. Vikas Vital Gite has 20 plus years of teaching experience and research experience. He is passionate in innovation, which lead him to register 3 patents on his credit. He published many research articles and books which are frequently cited by many research workers. He bagged many funding projects with his successful completion. He is a recipient of many prestigious awards, naming the few: APA Young Scientist Award, Best Research Award, Appreciation Award, and the list goes on. Sir is serving as a member of review committee in many research articles. He is active member of many prestigious professional bodies such as Ancient Polymer Association, Society for Polymer Science, India Council of Chemists, and so on. I named a few because the list is big. Presently, he is heading a department of polymer chemistry and in charge and head in industry chemistry and member board of studies. Sir's keynote on today's session is about research ethics and quality publication. With this note, a person with exceptional caliber, we are honored with your presence, sir. The floor is open for you. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Nagalta madam, for nice introduction. Uh, Before I start, I would like to express my thanks to Association of Chemistry Teachers from Kavaitri Bhainabai Chaudhary, North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon, for giving me an opportunity to deliver the talk in this big conference. And this is the first time I am delivering the talk in one of the mega event of the world, which is organized by 18 different organizations of the world from 8 different countries like Italy, Malaysia, India, Ukraine, Uzbekistan, Federation of Russia, Romania, Philippines. So I am very much happy to present my work in this conference. I am also thankful to the organizer who has given me chance, and Professor S.S. Rajput sir, chairman of ACT KBC NMU Jalgaon, Professor P.P. Mahlikar sir, honorable Pro Vice Chancellor of our university, and Professor P.P. Patil sir, honorable Vice Chancellor of our university, for permitting me to present my work, and of course my director Professor D.H. More sir, who has also guided and given permission to present my work over here. Now I am sharing my screen to you all. Madam, is my screen visible to you?
No, sir.
Hello? Is my screen shared to you all? Nagalta
No,
madam?
sir. Still not sharing.
Now? Now is it shared, madam?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So friends, today's my topic of discussion is research ethics, planning to publishing chemical research. As Nagalta madam mentioned, I am from School of Chemical Sciences, Kavaitri Bhainabai Chaudhary, North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon, Maharashtra, India. Previously, the name of our university was North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon, and since 2018, it has been extended by the name of Poetry Kavaitri Bhainabai Chaudhary, and this is our administrative building. Recently, this picture is taken by me. So if you look at this picture, you can find sky is so clean over here, which is not a common here due to a lot of pollutions. But due to the pandemic, there is lot of movement stop. Pollution level has dropped so much, and we can have the clear picture. So with this, I would like to start my presentation. Before I do, I start the presentation. This is a statement of ethics which I want to present here. The presentation is compilation of information from the references cited and contribution of my experience. It's not necessary that the present information is ideal, hence it can vary on case-to-case basis. Although I have taken all the cares to present the work appropriately, however, there may be an error that is mine and kindly accept it. You may write to me for suggestions and comments on given email address. Thank you. So friend, we are talking, even Dr. Alina Bagati also talk about the pandemic present due to COVID. But there are a lot of problems because of COVID. Of course, no one can deny. but there are some positive signs also. As the first picture of university shown that the sky was clean, pollution level was dropped. And here are some pictures of from our university campus which I wanted to present as a positive sign of COVID. So these pictures are so clean, green, and due to unavailability of students on the campus or minimum human intervention, you can find that the greenery has developed even in between or in the that gap of tiles or paver blocks which have been placed by university, and it looks so nice that it's a benzene structure having both para position or 1,4 position uh, substituted. And this is one picture which I have placed purposely here. This is the team from uh, the team from the government of Maharashtra. They were here to search the leopard because leopard was spotted at number of places, and that's the sign that because of minimization of human intervention, maybe due to COVID, there is freedom for the animals and nature, and that is why in our university number of time leopard has been spotted and the team is monitoring them. So this was the positive picture of our COVID. Now I will start with my flow of presentation. My presentation will start from some definition, chemistry and ethics, chemistry, ethics and sectors, individuals' relevance with chemical ethics, ethics in chemistry, internal domain, academics and ethics, safety. Then I will switch slowly to scientific misconduct, credits to contribution, contributor in research publication, writing research publication and ethics. And lastly, I will come to the peer reviewing and will finish with the thanks to you all. So this is my presentation. This is first time I am talking on the ethics, and whatever I have presented that may not be in the link what we feel standard, but this is the presentation made by me, and the points covered are which I encounter number of times during our research in chemistry laboratory. So many of them are my own experiences also. So if you talk about the definition, there are a lot of definitions available in different dictionaries, and these are some simple definition that ethics is a method, it is a way, it is a system, it is a structure to understand and examine what is right and what is wrong. It can be a discipline to deal with what is good and bad with moral duty and obligation. So it's a very wide and broad definition. So whatever is right, that is ethical, and whatever is wrong, that is unethical. And this can be decided by moral duty and obligations. So these definitions can be varying, but this what I feel I presented these definitions over here. So with this, I will switch over to the next topic, that is chemistry and ethics. If you look at chemistry subject, this subject chemistry is a vast subject and key of many sciences. You may not believe, but millions of new molecules are introduced by chemistry every year, and previous molecules are still existing. So it's a big science, and they are catering the needs of society in different uses. So it is significantly impacting almost all kinds of application or uses of human being and many things. So it is largely contributing to economy and wealth. If we talk about the Indian economy and chemistry, chemistry is the largest industry in India that is contributing a lot in the Indian economy, as well as a lot of people are employed in chemistry or chemical engineering industries all over the India. So chemistry is one of the lead subject for students also, not only for graduation or it is also for post graduation and PhD of course. And a lot of postdoc people are also doing in India and abroad after completing their PhD. So it is largely contributing to economy and wealth as well as to the employment of Indian youth. and that overall it is impacting or already impacted on culture, history, policy framework, and society as a whole. However, though these are the various things which have been impacted by the chemistry, but if you talk about the ethics of chemistry, it is mostly recognized and outlined by the academic committees or communities. And we know academic communities include student, teacher, organization, university, institutes, and like this. So we expect it has to be extended to other sectors also. So I tried to classify these sectors as below. So I classified them as academic, industry, and public as a sector. As I mentioned that maximum research ethics in chemistry are recognized and outlined by academic sector. And this academic sector can involve basic sciences, applied sciences, maybe engineering and technology, across material sciences, life sciences, and chemical engineering. And if you talk about the chemistry, this chemistry is have presence in basic sciences, applied sciences, in all material, life, and chemical engineering subjects too. So this part, academic part, is comparatively much more familiar with chemistry and ethics. However, another part like industry and public, there is no that much ethical practices known, or they are not that much recognized, though they may be following their in their industry, but it is not generalized or made available to other people. So this industry involves production of chemicals, marketing of chemical, their trading, their storage, transportation of chemicals, and development of chemicals. So altogether is involved, whatever is involved in this, all that comes under the industry sector. And though they are following their rules, most of them are confidential or know-how of that industry, and therefore may not be available to us. And that is why either they are not recognized or they may not be known with up-to-date ethical practices. So we need to focus on this part also. Third part, what I am talking here, it is about the public. But public means here I have considered national and international bodies which are responsible for regulation and enforcement of policies pertaining to chemicals and other also. But as we are talking about the chemistry, I am talking about the chemicals here. And these agencies are normally governed by the governments of various federations or countries. So these are the various sectors which must know the chemistry ethics. If they know the chemistry ethic, their production, their marketing, trade, storage, transportation, development, or research can be a smoother compared to what if it is not followed. Now I am coming to the individual's relevance with chemical ethics. Here, if you look at individual's relevance with chemical ethics, we can find individual means a person or personal. He or she can be chemist, scientist, industrialist, trader, or regulator. And everyone is having their responsibilities and role which may be varied or different than the others. So if you talk about the chemist is the person who is working in the laboratory and may be involved in R&D, may be involved in quality control, quality assurance, or may be involved in other sectors relevant to the chemistry. And we know scientists are normally employed to develop new product. Industrialists are involved to produce, to do R&D, to do something related to industrial products. Traders are trading the chemicals, so they may be transporting, they may be storing that. And regulators are from the public sector, which on whom the responsibility of regulating the guidelines is the main motto behind them. So if you look at individuals' interests may be different, chemist interest may be different than what it is for the scientist or industrialist or other people. Even scope of action can be different. They have different expectations and professional and social roles. Here, chemists and scientists normally they are working for the society. They have more social responsibility compared to the industrialist and other. Because industrialist traders, they have more pressure to make their industry, their organization profitable. So they may not think on the social responsibility much more compared to the chemists and scientists. However, chemists and scientists are the people who has to develop the research which is taking care of society, environment, and that is why their social roles are more. However, professional roles are played more in industries and in the trading systems. So this was about the individual's relevance with chemical ethics. Now, if we talk about some individual uh, ethics in chemistry pertaining to individual, so we can talk on first good scientific practice by professionalism and responsibility. So these are two important pillars for good scientific practice, that one has to be professional and responsible while doing chemistry research in the laboratory or in industry. So first, I have put that intellectual honesty and truthfulness. They should have the proper result, and the result should be true, and if they are correct, then whatever they are saying, that will go to the society with the proper information. Otherwise it will mislead society and other scientists also. Also, it has to they have to serve to the public interest and welfare. Of course, this already we have seen our previous slide, that this interest and welfare is taken care by chemists and scientists, but it does not mean industrialists and trader cannot. They also can take part, or they can also support to interest and welfare of society by doing well or professionally and responsibly their work when related with the chemistry. And whatever the devotion is by these people, that should be selfless devotion. If there is some selfishness, or if they have certain motto which kills the interest and welfare of the society, then it is also one sort of unethical practice. Then maintaining a safe working environment, it is highly important, and I think almost all universities, all organizations, even industry, they are following this guideline. Since introduction of ISO kind of organization, this part has been taken on priority in many industries and in even organizations also. So they are trying to maintain a safety environment for the working people. I will come to that what happens, or with I will come with one recent case in the next part of our presentation. And whatever we are having, if we are doing it professionally or responsibly, that should be universally valid, or it should not change with the time, it should not change with the space, it should not change with the cultural framework. Means whatever we are presenting, that should not be vary based on this fact. And if it is varying, that means one result what I am getting in my laboratory may vary in the another laboratory, or what I am getting here with respect to the particular time, that may not be valid to other place. Then it can be also unethical practice. So when we are following professional and responsible things, responsibly doing research here, then automatically that will be universally valid research or chemistry work. And it should not follow individual's interest. If it follows individual interest, it may not be unethical directly. However, sometimes it can be unethical if the individual interests go wrongly. However, it supports and benefits the community, social institution science, and it in that case, this individual interest, if not there, then it will be in the benefit of social community and society. And for this, whatever we are doing, we have to be our own critics. So individuals should be strong critic of our work. If we are the strong critic of our work, then there are always questions on our own theories and findings. And we are having question to our theories and findings, is this a correct or not? And accordingly, we can do the experiments number of time, we can repeat it, and we can correct it. So it where we were talking about validity of that, automatically its validity and that expands through with respect to time, space and cultural framework. So we have to be critics, and that's very, very important. One of the saint from Maharashtra already talked, Tukaram, that Nindakache ghar asave shejari. Nindak means critic. Who critics? He has to be too near to your houses. That means he was not talking about that ourselves should be critics, but critics should be near to your house. And if some critic is a person is who is having uh, criticism on your work, so he is giving you guideline how to do your research, how to make your research more strong, or how to do your whatever responsibility is given in better fashion that we can do. And if that person is nearby, is not nearby to you, one has to be individuals, critics, and that the gap will be fulfilled by individuals ourselves. However, unfortunately, it has been seen that scientists doing unfair science is increasing day by day. We'll see what are the reasons behind that in the coming slides. Now I'm coming to what is academics and ethics. So if we look at the academics applicability, it is to the university, master and doctoral scholars. Then it is also to the supervisors. I'm not talking here about the organizations and the structure here. So university, master and doctoral scholars, they are highly responsible for many academic and ethical systems into the chemistry and other science and non-science laboratory also. And of course, supervisor is a central person for this. So if you look at what kind of ethics or how they can break the ethics, so one is the discrimination, gender bias, sexual harassment, imbalanced relationships. So these are the points which are very important for master student, doctoral students and supervisor. So one should not be gender bias, they should not have sexual harassment or imbalanced relation between teacher with the student, supervisor with the student and student with the teacher. I have one example with the student with the teacher. I will not talk the name of the student here, but so far I have very small experience to teach, but in my this 20 years of teaching, students have raised some points in the classroom itself or in my personal room also to solve their problems. However, one student made comment on me that this teacher may discriminate me because he is asking question in the classroom. So my head of the department asked me to show them the details of mass sheets and other. So when he saw, he said that student made a complaint of you, and in this statement I cannot find such thing. So this also can happen from the student, or sometimes they can have some wrong complaint of the teacher. So this is from the student to teacher, and of course we know very well about teacher with student or supervisor with the student. So I have not taken examples of this kind of system, but these are the various types of unethical practices which are common in the university or academics. Another example, this is very different example what I am presenting here. It is being kind to a poor student. This is normally seen as a unintended consequences. Although we are being kind to a poor student, and suppose we have given some marks. So in looking that, it looks that we are innocent, and the motto behind that was to increase the passing rate of students, so it can help to my promotion or teacher's promotion, or it can be in respective of the student also. If student is failing by few marks, we may feel that yes, we have to give some marks, and the student will be uplifted to the next class or can have the degree, and he or she will not lose the year. This is normally our motto, and that's why I put the word that it is an innocent and unintended consequence of unethical practice. But if you look at the second point, what I have presented here, that downgrades the brilliant students. So it is injustice with the brilliant student. This is one loss, or this is one drawback of that unethical practice, and that the student who has done or who have completed his degree properly, has received proper marks, will be downgraded compared to the student. So that is a loss with that student. Another loss is with the society, because such student, if promoted with the mass, then the student may be postgraduates, may go to the post graduation, maybe academician, maybe attorney, maybe political leader, or so on. And hence, it will be consequenting on the respective part of our society. So, in my opinion, we should not be kind or nor we should not be kind to such student, because it is neither kind nor ethical. Although it looks it's a kind to a poor student. So this is my opinion. You may not be agree with what I have presented, but this is the fact I feel. Now another point which is normally ignored in many developing countries. Normally developed countries are taking care of the safety. However, in the developing countries or underdeveloping countries, they are ignoring the safety, and many times they have to pay more compared to what they are spending on the safety. So ignorance or violation of safety regulations and guidelines is very, very important. So where it happens wrong handling of harmful chemicals during utilization, transportation and storage, and waste disposal in a right way. So these are the common practices which are normally happening in the laboratory or in industry also. But as I mentioned, I will come with the one case here. So that case is, we all have seen on the 4th August in the Beirut, the capital city of Lebanon, around 27,000 tons of ammonium nitrate was stored. We don't know whether it is ethical or unethical, because committees and the decision has to come. But immediately after 1 or 2 days, it was reflected in the news that it was improperly stored, and that is why because of improper storage of that huge amount of ammonium nitrate broke into explosion, and this explosion was around 2.5 kilometers, and it was around capacity of 2 kiloton trinitrotoluene, or almost like a atomic weapon, and around more than 250 people killed, whereas more than 5,000 have been injured, and around 300,000 people have to lose their shelter. So it's a huge loss. Imagine that could have been safely transported and stored, the safety issue would not have come. And immediate after that, there were many news in the newspapers that at many places similar kind of ammonium nitrate or similar kind of explosives were stored improperly, and now they shifted it and they properly stored it to avoid the further consequences of the safety and explosion and further impact. So safety is on high priority. This was a societal problem, but in laboratory also, or this safety impacts on individuals also. That is the responsibility of the scientist or any chemist who is working in the laboratory to take care of his co-workers and colleagues as far as safety is concerned. And of course, if you are taking the safety or considering safety measures of your colleague, your friends who are working in the laboratory, who are working in your region, so you are taking care of local, regional and global public as well as of the environment. Because if you throw waste dispose in the improper way, or if there explosion happens, something goes wrongly, accident happens, then it is impacting on local to the global public, and of course everywhere it impacts on the environment. So it's a every chemist duty to comply with safety regulations and guidelines. So it's my humble request to all chemists that one should comply with safety regulation as far as possible and guidelines also. And now I am coming on the next part, that is scientific misconduct. So whenever we talk about ethics and chemistry, we normally stuck up to this, and we normally ignore what I talked earlier, but every point is equally important in view. So fabrication is one, that is making up data or results without any carrying experiment. Falsification is an inaccurate presentation of data maybe by omitting or changing the results. And unauthorized copying is a plagiarism, that is use of another person's result without credit. And it has been found in nowadays it has been found that these are easily identifiable, because each and every research paper, each and every document is available to the common public, and that is why anybody can see, anybody can find out if there is something wrong in this. So we are looking for that one by one. Chances of data manipulation. So there can be two types of chances, that is intended manipulation and another is non-intended manipulation. In the intended manipulation, direct fabrication of results without doing an experiment and study is coming out here. So many times, many people are finding or doing research, they are presenting their data without doing experiment and study. So this is intended. They want publication. They want doing experiment or not with that much that much efforts. And what is non-intended manipulation? That non-intended manipulation is they are doing manipulation, but they don't know that whether it is a manipulation or not. So I have explained it with the example. Suppose the scientist or chemist is having 5 experiment, so it is 5 experiment repetition, and out of 5 results, 3 times he or she got expected results, whereas 2 times there is a deviation from the expected result. So what happens in this case? So sometimes chemist or that scientist may think that yes, I got 3 times result, so ignore about two results, or we will not mention that results, and they may delete that deviated results. So though it looks it a manipulation, but it's a non-intended manipulation, and it also comes under unethical practice in the chemistry and all sciences. So why it happens, or when does data manipulation happens? If we look, there are 2 important perspectives here. One is student's perspective and another is your PI's or scientist perspective. So if you think on the student's side, then student wants successful graduation. Student want degree. They want to complete their thesis. They want to complete their dissertation within the time. So sometimes if they are not getting results, or they either go for intended or non-intended manipulations and may submit their thesis if they are following unethical practice. Another is sometimes their degree or thesis, they have substantial material, but they want fair treatment as compared to others, maybe colleague, maybe friend, and that is why they are promoted this kind of activities. And yeah, it is high competition nowadays, and that's why they want to have the smooth career. And for smooth career, anybody talks about the results, previous work, and that is why they want to make it impressive. And that time, without acquiring necessary skills, student may go for manipulation and may have some false data made available, and that is about the student. If we talk about scientist or PI, that scientist or PI want to manage the funds for the research group, and if substantial output is not coming, or they are not doing a lot of they are not taking efforts that they should have taken, so they may go for the manipulation. Sometimes they require timely publication, but they are not getting, so that is also one point when they may go for the manipulation. A good reputation within and around their institute and faculty, what we have seen with the student, fair treatment as compared to others. So here also the point is applicable. So it is also fair treatment or reputation of that scientist within and around the institute and faculty. And there is also high competition, lot of pressure within the institute or scientific community. And now we can see that there are a lot of rankings available for universities and others. So sometimes because of this also they have some pressure on their work, and that time they are going, as well as it is the case with funding source and sometimes expectation, because these funding sources are also sometimes look for the previous research work, and the scientist is not having substantial work done in the previous research, they may go for this kind of manipulation. So these are the high competition. Of course, it's not always the case that PI and others should go, because if they do sincere work, sincere research, probably they may not have to follow the above mentioned, that is intended or non-intended manipulation. So these are the things about manipulation of data. Now I am coming to publication of chemical research. If we look at the process of publication, we normally follow these three systems. Many of you may be familiar, but still I am representing once again, because some of us may not be familiar with this system. That is manuscript submission. Means whatever we talk, that was about the data and writing of the manuscript, and this manuscript is ready for submission, or being ready, or being underwriting. So that manuscript submission, after submission it goes for peer reviewing, and after publication we may have the impact of that publication on the various factors, and unethical practices can be found along all these three steps also. So let us go for manuscript submission. So it's author's responsibility to finalize the manuscript and also finalize authors to the manuscript. So there are main author, research supervisor, author who has not made substantial contribution but maybe PI, PhD student, postdoc, honorary authorships. This will look in the detail in the further slide. So here I have given the title that credits to contributor in research publication. Who should be main contributor and authors? So it looks that first author and last corresponding author are the key position or important authors from the research publication. Other than this, first and last corresponding author, there are some authors who we call as a co-authors, and this involved directly with substantial contribution to the work. Now I have question, can higher authority from the institute be a co-author? Can a language editor or a person help in writing the manuscript be a co-author? So if you look at the upper line, that he or she should involve directly and directly with substantial contribution to the research work, that person can be co-author. So both of these are not as per the ethical guideline. Okay, and that time the people who has helped you, maybe from your institute, maybe from language edition side or from other side, they can be acknowledged and their contribution can be credited, but they are not a part of authorship. And if we talk about the first and last corresponding author, first author is a normally from whose thesis or who is the person who has done laboratory work, maximum contribution, that is the first author, and last or corresponding author is a supervisor who was involved in the planning, maybe on the table work and other work. So these are two important key positions, and another are co-authorships. Of course, if you come to the last slide, second last line, that is different discipline may have different possibilities. I am talking about the chemistry or what we are following, that, and other people may have different possibility, may not be agree with me, but this is what I feel I'm putting here, and I want to explain it with the what example. This case study is that there is an invitation to the Professor Patil AB to write an article for well-known journal. Then Professor Patil asked the student's name is Mr. Pawar XY, to assist in writing the article. And Mr. Pawar's thesis is relevant to the article and his important result will be discussed in it. My question is, who should be first author and who should be corresponding author? Then authorship sequence can be like this, as the part is done by, maximum part is contributed by Pawar XY. It is from his thesis. So Yogesh. So, Mr. Pawar XY is the first author, and Patil AB is the last author, and other co-authors are depending on their contribution. If somebody has contributed, that others can be co-author. I'm sorry, I will take a very small break of water. Okay, thank you. Now, when we write research publication, then sometimes misusing the data, what we call the plagiarisms and other, that is copying the sentences and using data as such. I have here one case that is from my student. He copied the definition of microencapsulation while writing one paper and forgot to cite the original research paper. But when I was correcting that paper, I found that it is the definition and it has been taken from somewhere. So I asked him, is it written by you? That time student explained, no, it is not written by me, but it is the definition and do not need to cite and something like. But I said it has to be cited that with this XYZ author has given, or that was properly cited, and then it was corrected properly. So this kind of silly mistakes sometimes student may be doing, so supervisor need to look in the details also. Then after publication we may have improper citation, that is unnecessary self citation. There are a number of research papers in which the authors are having self citation which are pulled or unnecessary, and they want to improve the self citation. So that is also one sort of unethical practice. Another is misciting. Sometimes we are citing, or scientists are citing, the references which are from the friends and community which are familiar, which is familiar to them. So in this case they want to increase the sphere of friends and encourage others to cite our work, that I will cite your work, you cite mine. So this can be seen in the community also. Sometimes instead of citing, sometimes it has been found that competitors' work is excluded from the citation. So this is injustice with the competitor. Though he or she is a competitor, but they deserve, their citation deserves, and therefore one has to cite such references or the work irrespective of who he or she is. Now I am coming to last slide, that peer reviewing of the research. So this unethical practices are not only done during the research, during the writing and during the publication, but that also been found during the peer reviewing also. So this peer reviewing can be of publication, this can be of thesis, this can be of research project or funding proposals. But here we are sticking to the publications and thesis. Sometimes unknowingly the research paper is sent to the relevant person with the others, or the research is not, the paper is not relevant to the expertise of the reviewer, but they accept it and they review it. But in fact it has to be rejected, that on the basis that I do not have expertise in the relevant area, and that's why I am rejecting this for reviewing process. Or you may reject it on the ground that the authors mentioned in this, they are connected to professionally or personally to you, and one can find these guidelines on the research publications or that journals guidelines for the reviewers, and many times they have mentioned if you have personal relation or professional relation within the 3 years, then you should reject it. So journal to journal the statement may vary, but one has to look for and one has to go with that properly. Sometimes after accepting it for reviewing, the journal, the reviewer may accept that manuscript for publication without significant quality present to the manuscript, or may reject also based on bias intention. That intention can be regional. Oh, it's from this and this country, so I don't like that country, and that can be rejected. But it is your personal view. Do not put your personal view and do not reject that based on regional, institutional, or research groups. And that is quite possible. That is also happening sometimes. Sometimes this rejection has a cause, that is to reduce the competition. Suppose X professor is my competitor, his publication or manuscript comes to me for review, and I feel he is my competitor. I want to make trouble to him, and that time I may reject that manuscript. So that is also unethical. Using research ideas without authorship permission, using research ideas without author's permission is also sometimes done, because when you get a reviewing manuscript for the reviewing, that is unpublished work, that is a confidential work and should not be disclosed somewhere. But sometimes the reviewer are using that information and they develop something without the prior permission of author or without publication of that research work. It is also commonly seen in many reviewings. I have reviewed some papers and in which I found 2 to 3 times, it's not much more, but it is still present. Some reviewer has asked for modification of the manuscript based on the given research based on the given citation of given research publication. And when I search, because I was one of the reviewer, when I search, all this belongs to only one person. So I feel that that reviewer has asked to cite the research paper which belongs to the reviewer. I think that should not be the case also. So this is what I wanted to talk about, the research ethics in chemistry, and some are in the common. So with this, I finished my presentation. I acknowledge once again International Conference on Research Outlook, Innovation and Research Trends, ICROIRT 2020, for giving me a chance to present my work here. I also acknowledge Kavitri Bahinabai Chaudhary, North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon, MS India, and International Conference International Journal of Advanced Study and Research Work, and all the organizing committee members for giving me chance to present my research work here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. You enlightened us with ethics in chemistry in a simple and understandable note. Your words are casual but strong, connected with
Thank
live
you.
examples. Thank you for excellent presentation, and we can feel your expertise in chemistry and ethics too, sir. We can feel it. So we are very happy for your presence, sir. I request the
Thank you.
participants are free to share their questions in a chat board. I request the participants are free to share their questions in a chat board. The experts are ready to hear your questions. Madam Dr. Priyanka.
Yeah, I think we have a very good presentation by our speakers. So the participants are very clear with the thought that they deliver in that speech. So I think there will be no questions coming out from the participants. That's I'm just surprising that the listeners are very like effective with the presentations. Thank you
Yeah, the
both of
session
you
was,
for this enlightening session that you are
yeah,
presenting your experience with us. You have a lot of experience that yeah.
I hope I
yes.
finish in the time.
Yeah. There is
Priyanka,
one more
madam, shall I proceed?
question. Yeah, there is one more question that is coming from the participants that I can share on the screen. How to store COC acids in the laboratory. So there is a, I
There are
think,
various there are
creativity.
various guidelines for storage and others for the chemicals in the laboratory. One has to follow the guidelines. They are in detail available online also, so one can store them properly. There is categorization of chemicals, and according to the categorization, one can store the chemicals as per the OSHA and other guidelines. Thank you.
There is another question from the participants that you can see on your down of your screen as well, sir. I really want to start to make a publication, but don't know how to go about it. Help me out.
Okay, I think she is totally newcomer in the publication. First, she should gather the results, find out what she has addressed, and accordingly, she can follow writing guidelines. First, you analyze your results, write the findings, and then you complete your research writing slowly. Actually, this is the topic of some different discussion. It requires at least 40 minutes to discuss. But in short, I can say you gather your results, analyze them, interpret them, and then you start writing research. Or if you have targeted some journal, then you go to the journal's website, find out their guidelines, and accordingly you start writing on it.
Dr. Alina, would you like to add something on this?
I have a question to Dr. Vika Gait. Thank you for the very informative lesson that allow me and all of us to know the procedures, the way the academic and the scientific publication are framing the competence, the skills, and the disciplines of the referring authors. I have a question for you. I think that the paradigm, it is emerging. Someone is framing it as a fourth paradigm related to computation, the race of the computational sciences that need new skills, transdisciplinary skills, related to what you very effectively proposed to the ethics also of the scholars. And this is very much related to the definition of paradigm of Thomas Kuhn I have tried to address in my lecture. I would like to know if you have in India, in your country, the same problems that we are facing in Europe. I'm referring to the mechanism of accreditation of the papers, of the scientific articles. In order to have a high score, high rank, we are compelled and forced to publish our papers that sometimes are tackling interdisciplinary skills in specific journal that are not allowing us as scholars to be interdisciplinary. So I think that this is very challenging, and it is not helping us as scholars and practitioners to be challenged by the new paradigm of computational sciences, of the cyber sciences, what we call post-normal science. So I would like to know your opinion on the way as science, the science that is related to the scientific publication, academic publication, can help especially young students, to relate in a consistent, robust way to new paradigms, new way of thinking, new skills and competencies.
Yeah, in India we have little different system. It is mostly related with UK system. We have central university and various colleges affiliated to university. Normally colleges are carrying their undergraduations for the students, like bachelor in science, arts, commerce, like this. And in the universities are carrying mostly post graduations and few graduation courses also, and they are responsible to do the research, whereas in the colleges research is not that much important, so they are developing student for theoretical background, and therefore categorizing or what we can say, comparing the teachers in the colleges and university as the different system. It is accredited, it has some accreditation bodies in India also, but they have kept different system for different teachers, even for the students also. And if student is studying in the university in the post graduation, he or she has to go through the research projects, and therefore of course they need to, what you talk about, that they are helping to improve their skills and other systems for the students also. Dr. Alina.
Thank you for your answer, informative
Thank you.
answer. Thank you.
So I am taking this opportunity to congratulate you for your nice presentation also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Priyanka madam, your voice is not clear.
Uh, is it? If the
Okay.
sampling is not adequate, will the result based on the inadequate data affect the ethics of research too?
Okay. Yeah, it's obvious that if it is an inadequate sample, then it will have impact or it will affect on the ethics. It's a probability that sometimes whatever inadequate and results we have, they may be accurate or may not be accurate. So it depends on their accuracy. So it's always better to have the adequate sampling to minimize these errors and problems.
May I add something to this?
Yeah, please, please.
Yes, I would rather answer to this question with the following. I would say that that is not the sampling that is not adequate, that could affect data, but the way the research design has been constructed. Therefore, the way the ethics, the theoretical paradigms, the state of literatures, the values, the research hypothesis, the research has done, that has not allowed to construct a good research design and therefore a sample. I'm specifying this in relation to the cycle of research that I framed and addressed to you in my presentation. And this is very important to be aware of how to construct a robust and consistent design. This the method, we are valued as researchers and scholars not on our findings, not on our data indicators that we are addressing with our sample, but in the way we have constructed, in the robustness, consistency, validity of our research design. I think that this is very important and related to the awareness and the critical thinking, the new paradigm are challenging us. I don't know if you agree, do you agree with this?
Yeah, thank you for answering the questions of our participant. The participants, I receive a very wonderful comments on your talk that people are very much excited and very much cleared about their topics. And yeah, I just hand over to Dr. Nagalata.
Yeah. So with that note, yes, madam, we have received a clear presentation by both expertised speakers. So we are closing the question session from the participants. Thank you, Madam Dr. Elena Battaglini. Thank you, Sir Dr. Vikas Vittal Gite, for sharing your thoughts and enlightening us. Thank you for joining with us today. We reached the end of the part session 1 of day 1. So now I would like to invite Professor Dr. Gir N. Refugee, Assistant Dean, College of Teacher Education, NORSU, MC, Philippines. Sir, please give a vote of thanks for the session. Sir?
Yep, I'm sharing my documents.
Yes.
So is there any problem to share your screen, sir?
Yeah, I'm just having a problem with my screen. Just for a moment.
Yeah. I hope both of you like enjoyed whole the arrangement. There will be no problem for our end.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's actually afternoon here in the Philippines, and in behalf of the organizer, the International Journal of Advanced Studies and Research Work, in behalf of Dr. Priyanka and the organizers of this conference, the different members of the patron committee, the organizer committee, the coordinator committees, and the different universities and colleges collaborating for this conference. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Vikas and Dr. Elena, for that wonderful topics presented and well delivered topics during this conference. So, in behalf of all in this conference, the 250 attendees of this conference, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, thank you for giving the end note. And we are very happy with your presence and making this event as a grand success for the session 1 of the day 1. I request the participant to fill the attendance form to register your presence. I request the participants to fill the attendance form to register your presence. And kindly log in by 3 p.m. of today for the second session of the day 1. I request the participants to kindly log in by 3 p.m. of today for second session of the day 1. With this note, Naglata is signing out from the day session. Thank you, everyone.
Ito, refugee.